Hello everyone and welcome into Coach Craig's Sports. This is the NBA DFS Core Pick video for today, Friday, March 1st. If you're joining me for the very first time, this is the way today's video will be structured. We won't be having a recap since I did not ultimately end up making a video yesterday. Was not feeling well kind of in the morning once I got home from my nighttime job. So was dealing with a massive headache at that point in time. So I really do apologize that we did not have a video yesterday, but we'll be going over the injuries and play for tonight overall, and then we'll go over to both DraftKings and FanDuel and talk about my core picks for today. So it's going to be one player at each position: point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center. But without further ado, we'll get right into those injuries for today. So there are going to be two teams there on the back-to-back for the main slate. There are four teams that are on back-to-backs for the day in total, but we'll be talking about the main slate primarily, although we'll glance over the injuries for all the games for today just in general. So we're going to start off with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Donovan Mitchell listed as questionable to play tonight. We'll see whether or not he ultimately is good to go or not. If he's unable to play, it probably just is Isaac Okoro getting the start, and then, a little bit of a bump up for guys like Karis LeVert. And then we have Ty Jerome and Tristan Thompson both out once again, so no real changes there for Cleveland outside of Donovan Mitchell. And then for the Detroit Pistons, it's just Marcus Sasser out once again. Isaiah Stewart did return in their most recent game and play pretty decent-sized minutes, so would expect similar out of him tonight as well. And then the Charlotte Hornets are on the back-to-back, so we'll see what their injury report looks like as the day moves along, but probably going to see what we've seen out of them for a little while at this point in time. For the Philadelphia 76ers, we got Robert Covington, Joel Embiid, and DeAnthony Melton all out for tonight's game. And then KJ Martin listed as questionable. DeAnthony Melton is the newest one listed as out there. He was kind of out for a while and then came back, so I'm not sure if this is kind of a maintenance day off for him or if it's another injury. And then for the Dallas Mavericks, we got Luka Doncic listed as questionable to play tonight. Obviously, if he is unable to go, it's going to be a big bump up for Kyrie Irving especially, and then everybody else just kind of gets a little bit of bump at the same time as well. We'll see whether or not it is Tim Hardaway Jr. getting the start or whether they, bump up Josh Green to kind of that shooting guard spot, maybe start like a Derrick Jones Jr. or someone else in that spot as well. And then on the opposite side of the game with Boston Celtics, they are all the way healthy at this point in time. Move down to the Golden State Warriors. They are the other team that's on the back-to-back for the main slate. So we'll see what their injury report looks like as the day moves along. On the Toronto Raptors side, it's just Chris Boucher listed as questionable. I believe he's dealing with an illness. Not a major impact there whatsoever, though, although a couple extra minutes could go around for that bench unit just in general. And then we have the Pacers, who are without Doug McDermott, and then Aaron Nesmith listed as questionable to play. He's missed a handful of games now at this point in time. But if he's out once again tonight, we'll see Benedict Mathurin in that starting lineup and playing pretty big minutes once again. And then on the Pelicans side, just Dyson Daniels out, and he's going to be out for a couple of weeks at the bare minimum at this point in time. Then we move down to Sacramento Kings. Sasha Vechenko is out once again. De'Aaron Fox, this is questionable to play with an ankle injury. He did miss their most recent game, which was a game that we saw Davion Mitchell get the start, and it looked like Chris Duarte kind of was the main beneficiary in that situation as well. So he could be an interesting kind of pay down option on tonight's slate if that ultimately ends up being the case with De'Aaron Fox being out once again. And then on the Timberwolves side, they are without Jalen Clark once again. Kyle Anderson listed as doubtful to play, and then Anthony Edwards listed as questionable, although he was able to play in their most recent game. We move over to the Portland Trail Blazers. They are without Malcolm Brogdon, Scoot Henderson, and Shaedon Sharpe once again. And then DeAndre Ayton is listed as doubtful to play with a thumb injury for tonight's game. So probably going to see Dot Breathe in that starting lineup unless they go really small and start Jabari Walker there, which is something that could be pretty viable against this Memphis Grizzlies team. And then we got Moses Brown listed as questionable to play tonight. We'll see whether he's ultimately back or not. And then on the Grizzlies side, we have Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., Scottie Pippen Jr., Derrick Rose, and Marcus Smart. All this is out. Brandon Clark, although he has the green next to him, he is listed as out for tonight's game as well. And then we have Luke Kennard and John Concher, both listed as doubtful, so unlikely that either one of them plays. And then Gigi Jackson is also listed as questionable. So this is a very thin team at this point in time. And especially at that point guard spot tonight, Jordan Goodwin's kind of their main guy they got left. I believe Gilliard's still on that two-way contract, but I'm not sure if he's back up with the team or not, so have to look into that a little bit more as the day moves along. But could be a lot of value on this Memphis team overall, especially as some of the other news comes out throughout the day, and if we get any hints whatsoever of what this starting lineup's going to be. Then we move down to the two games that are not on the slate for tonight overall. We got the Milwaukee Bucks. They're on the back-to-back, so we'll see what their injury report looks like as the day moves along. And then for Chicago Bulls, Torrey Craig out once again. Alex Caruso listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. He was unable to play in their most recent game. And then we move down to the Washington Wizards, who are also on the back-to-back, so we'll see what their injury report looks like as the day moves along as well. And then for the Los Angeles Clippers, we got Zubac listed as questionable. He did miss their most recent game due to an illness. And then Paul George is also listed as questionable. I believe he's missed like 2 or 3 games now at this point in time. So if you're playing that late slate, if you're playing like an all-day slate or anything like that, could be a little bit of value that does pop up maybe on that Clippers team once again, but we'll just kind of have to see as the day moves along. But with that being said, that's a quick little rundown on all the injuries in play for tonight's slate. As always, I'll be posting all the injury updates as they do come out throughout the day down in the comments below, so definitely be on the lookout for that, as well as the starting lineups as they do get announced throughout the night. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to DraftKings and talk about my core picks over there. So we're going to start off at the point guard position with Jordan Goodwin for the Memphis Grizzlies. He is $4,700. You're only looking for 23, 24 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for about 27 tonight. It's a really good matchup versus the Portland Trailblazers. Both these teams are dealing with a lot of injuries, so we'll kind of see what that looks like as the day moves along. But he's kind of the de facto point guard. He's kind of the only point guard left in town now at this point in time for the Memphis Grizzlies, so should be a pretty safe, valuable option on tonight's slate once again. Then at shooting guard, we're going to go with RJ Barrett here. A little bit of pace-up spot tonight against the Golden State Warriors, who are on the back-to-back. So $7,000, looking for 35. Currently, I'm projected for 37. You can play him at shooting guard. You can play him at small forward. If Luka Doncic ultimately gets ruled out, this will swap over to Kyrie Irving for tonight overall, who would look like a really good option at that point in time. And then at small forward, we got Brandon Ingram, $8,000, looking for 40 out. He's averaging 39 on the season. Pace up spot versus the Indiana Pacers tonight. It is in New Orleans, so probably a little bit of home court advantage there too as well. You know, this Pelican team is a very interesting one game to game, but he did play pretty well in that most recent game versus the Pacers. He's been playing really well as of late. So do currently I'm projected for about 42, 43 points tonight. Looks like a really solid option all around. And then at power forward, we're going to go with Santi Aldama, $4,900, looking for 24, 25. I'm averaging 23.5 so far in the season. A little bit of pace-up spot tonight against the Portland Trailblazers. They are very, very thin in the front court at this point in time with no Jaren Jackson Jr. If G.G. Jackson doesn't play as well, Aldama's probably going to get about as many minutes as he can handle at that point in time, whether it's at that center position or the power forward position just in general. But do like his upside quite a bit. And with that being said, currently I'm projected for about 28 fantasy points tonight. Could have a little bit of upside for more, could have a little bit of downside for less, but looks like a really good option all around. Memphis just in general, you know, you're talking Jordan Goodwin, you're talking Santi Aldama, Xavier Williams, and Vince Williams. All 4 of those guys are going to look really good on tonight's slate overall. All are relatively underpriced respectively for the game environment for tonight overall. And then last but not least, at the center position, we have Derek Lively, $4,300, looking for 21, 22 out of him. He's averaging 24.5 so far on the season. So it just looks like a pretty good value, at least early to start the day, although, you know, he's kind of splitting minutes with Daniel Gafford at that center position. But even, you know, 24, 25 minutes for him tonight should be able to pay off at this price tag. We did see a pretty high upside game out of him, their most recent game out. And with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $21,100 remaining, just over $7,000 per player. So a good amount of money remaining. And, you know, if Luka doesn't play tonight, there's not that like high-end tippy-top option. So we're looking at guys maxing out probably at Domantas Sabonis and Jason Tatum, $10,200, $9,800. So you're going to have a little bit of room of flexibility. You probably pay up for 2 other pretty good players if that's something you want to do, or if you want to take a little bit more balanced approach the rest of the way, that's definitely something you can do as well. But with that being said, we'll get moved over to FanDuel and talk about my core picks over there as well. So once again, we're just going to start off at that point guard position with Jordan Goodwin for the Memphis Grizzlies, $5,300, looking for 26, 27 now. Currently, I'm projected for 27, 28 tonight. He's a guy that can get us some steals here and there too, which is a little bit more valuable on the FanDuel side. So a little bit more upside over here. He's not a guy that's going to knock down a lot of threes. If you look at what he did in his most recent game, really paid off in a big way, and he didn't even shoot the ball well. So if he just has an average shooting night today against the Portland Trailblazers in a pace-up spot, should be pretty good for him overall. Then at shooting guard, I didn't really like anybody too much on FanDuel today. I ultimately ended up on Klay Thompson, $5,400, coming off the bench, looking for 27 out of him. He's averaging just over 26 so far on the season. Decent matchup against the Toronto Raptors. We'll see whether or not he plays on the back-to-back today or not, or if anybody else ultimately gets ruled out. Could be some opportunities for him. You know, if he's shooting well, can easily outperform this price tag of $5,400. Ultimately, this is probably going to be somebody else as the day moves along, but, you know, for the sake of content, at least had to throw somebody in there to start off the day. Currently, I'm projected for about 27, 28 tonight. Could be a little bit upside for more. Could be a little bit downside for less at the same time as well. Then at small forward, we're going to Brandon Ingram once again, $8,100, looking for 40, 41 out of him. Averaging about 38 so far on the season on the FanDuel side. Goes against the Pacers tonight. It is a pace-up spot once again, a matchup that he did very well in, you know, a couple nights ago. So should be another favorable matchup for him just in general. Looking for that 40 to 41 out of him. Currently, I'm projected for 42, 43 tonight. Looks like a really solid option overall. Then we're going to move down to power forward with Keegan Murray, $6,000, looking for 30 points on him. He's averaging just over 28 so far on the season. A little bit of a tougher matchup tonight against the Minnesota Timberwolves, but if De'Aaron Fox doesn't play, should be some extra opportunities, some extra usage to go around. Should benefit a guy like Keegan Murray just in general. Currently having projected for about 30 to 31 tonight. Has a little bit upside for more if he's shooting the ball well once again. And then last but not least, at the center position on FanDuel, ultimately ended up on Santi Aldama, $5,500, so a little bit more expensive than he is over on DraftKings. Looking for 27, 28 out. Currently what I do have him projected for as well. Has a little bit of upside for more, a little bit of downside for less, but all around, he's a guy that's going to get a lot of minutes out there and should be able to get pretty much a shot whenever he wants for this Memphis Grizzlies team tonight. But with that being said, if you go with these 5 players that I do currently have listed here, you have $29,700 remaining. Just over $7,400 per player. So a good amount of money left over, whether you want to pay up for a couple guys, pay down for a couple other values, because there are going to be some pretty good values out there on tonight's slate overall. It's definitely one way you can do it. Or if you really, really want to do that balanced build, probably wouldn't recommend it tonight on the FanDuel side, but you can definitely do it at the same time as well. Should be pretty interesting to see how this slate ultimately shakes out as the day moves along and as we get some of those starting lineups throughout the night. But with that being said, these are my core picks for both FanDuel and DraftKings for today, Friday, March 1st. As always, if you have any questions related to NBA DFS, be sure to drop them down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Also, be sure to note whether those questions are more FanDuel or DraftKings specific, just so I can best help you as quickly and efficiently as possible. And then, as always, I'll be posting all the injury updates as they get announced throughout the day down in the comments below, as well as the starting lineups as they do get announced throughout the night. So definitely be sure to look out for all that information. And then I will also have my updated core down there about 15 to 20 minutes prior to lock. Might be a little bit sooner than that tonight, just with everything else going on. So definitely be sure to look out for that. It will be left as a pinned comment. If there's any other additional changes to that after that point in time, I will leave them as a reply to that pinned comment as well. But with that being said, if you are brand new to my channel, checking out for the very first time, or have yet to subscribe, please consider doing so. Definitely would appreciate it. Helps to build the community that we're trying to build here at Coach Craig Sports, which is one that's truly for you, the viewers, helping you with your DFS. Right now, we just got NBA DFS going on Monday through Friday in terms of the core pick videos. Once again, do apologize for missing yesterday's video. I was just really feeling like crap at the beginning of the day yesterday, so do apologize for that once again. And with that being said, if you're a part of my Patreon page, patreon.com/Coach Craig Sports, you do get the initial player pools for the day every single day. A couple bucks a month helps you guys out a little bit as you're building out your process, especially if you're building out multiple lineups. Gives you a look into all the guys that I think are going to be in play from a GPP perspective, from a cash game perspective, just in general, headed into the day. And then last but not least, if you're interested in sports betting, if you're interested in prop betting whatsoever, be sure to check out the links and promo codes down in the description below for Prize Picks, Parlay Play, and BetUS. If you are a brand new user to any one of those 3 sites, you sign up, you make your initial deposit, you will get a first match deposit bonus. For Parlay Play and Prize Picks, it's a 100% match up to $100 on your initial deposit. And then for BetUS, it's 125% of your initial deposit up to $2,500. So some pretty great opportunities to be had out there. And then with that being said, if you have any other additional questions related to that whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me, whether it's down in the comments below or on Twitter at Coach Craig Sport, and be more than happy to help you with that journey as well. But with that being said, that's all that I truly have for today's video. Definitely do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. Definitely means a lot to me. I hope that each and every one of you have a great rest of your day and some pretty good luck in NBA DFS tonight.